I'm assuming he meant it in a very vague way. Give that warning to the member.
Gary Anisandri, welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Pierre Poilievre absolutely humiliating the guy. He got caught with a secret recording, not only admitting the Pew buyback program being ridiculous, but basically that he doesn't support Carney on this decision, but he has to roll it out to get his big fat cat paycheck. Both Gary and Sean Fraser defending their position, and as you'll see at the end of the video, you'll see a ridiculous example of a criminal breaking into a restaurant, attempting grand theft auto. The owner beats that guy up, and now the criminal is suing the owner for beating him up after his attempted grand theft auto. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got some polling data here that's popped back up. This is actually back from August 6th, but because of the situation with Palestine, we've got this majority of Canadians support recognizing Palestine. 61% saying yes, 39% saying no. As Sharon's pointing out here, who did they poll? Well, let me show you who they polled, because once again, polling data, it all comes down to who they're polling. So this sample size, 1,500, which is not that many. Out of everyone they polled, those 1,500 people, you've got 350 people in the prairies, 850 people in Quebec and Ontario combined, add in leftist Atlantic Canada, another 100 there in BC, and of that almost 1,300 are urban and 233 rural, and rural folk often conservative voters, urban folk often liberal voters. The male-female split is basically 50-50. The age demographics are pretty balanced as well, and they've got this one here, people say who they voted for, conservative 558, liberals 593, you add in 89 NDP, 97 Bloc, 28 Green, and 156 did not vote. So forget about this one, just adding up these other ones with liberal, because these are all leftist parties. That's just over 800 people versus 558 conservatives. And once again, there's a big split here between urban and rural. That's why you're seeing more leftists in this poll yielding these results. This is not accurate of Canadians across Canada. Moving ahead, we got Canadian Tire in Etobicoke. Doug Ford's riding has been fined $111,000 for allegedly lying about their Lima application. They've not paid the fine and they are banned from using the TFW program. So Mario from the North has a video on this where he basically just got the receipts that a bunch of people, hundreds of people are being fired from Canadian Tire, and they're trying to abuse this system, allegedly hiring a bunch of temporary workers instead. I'm going to choose to not shop at Canadian Tire anymore. Can't fathom why these Limas are being approved. There are ample unemployed Canadians. What is the logic behind this? Jumping over to the question period here. So Gary Anisandri is taking the lead role here, and Pierre Poilievre absolutely destroys him. Then Sean Fraser tries to save him. He also gets destroyed.
Merci pour la question.
Thank you for the question.
So to start this one off, Pierre Poilievre usually starts these in French and then switches to English. Gary Anisandri, I don't think he can speak French. Pierre blasts him on the leaked audio. If you didn't see my previous video, check that out. But basically, leaked audio came out proving that the Pew buyback program is mandatory. You get one of two options, essentially. You can let the government come in and dismantle your Pew to a point where it can't be used. They can take it from you and give you under market value for it. Or the third option is you do nothing and then the police come and arrest you.
Mr. Speaker, on Sunday, I had a conversation with an individual that I've known for many years who recorded it without my knowledge and had it leaked to a gun lobbyist. In that conversation, Mr. Speaker, the subject of the assault-style firearms buyback compensation program was discussed. In trying to address this issue, Mr. Speaker, the individual's frustration, my comments were misguided. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, it's important to have the program in place is what Canadians are looking for. And I do want to note that the leader of the
This guy doesn't even support the program. He said that in the audio, so I didn't play the full thing. You can see it here. It's on the CCFR here. It was 15, almost 16 minutes long. I only played about a minute or two of it. But basically, Gary Anisandri admits there that this program, he doesn't like it, but Mark Carney told him to roll it out, and that's what he has to do. He thinks that they shouldn't even bother be doing this, and he personally offered to pay the value of the Pew, the full value, to this person that he's known for a long time that was secretly recording him.
This is completing something that was started 5 years ago that, but as the minister, you can sit down with Mark and say, listen, there's something we need to address these before.
We've had all these conversations. Like I've had for the last 4 months, it's been like constant discussions on this to see what's next, right? And the conclusion is let's finish this because we committed to it in the campaign.
By freeing rampant gun criminals and wasting billions of dollars of police and border resources targeting law-abiding, licensed, trained, and tested firearms owners, this government has overseen a 130% increase in violent gun crime. But over the weekend, the Minister of Public Safety accidentally told the truth, and he was recorded doing it. He said that the gun grab is not worth the money, that it will go over budget, and it would be better just to lock up the criminals, but that they're going ahead with the bad policy because it's good politics. Does the Prime Minister agree?
Mr. Speaker, it's a good thing there's a recording of it so that Canadians can have a look for themselves.
Yeah, and what Pierre just said is all in there. What are you trying to prove? He goes on to say this multiple times. It doesn't prove him innocent, though. It proves him guilty.
Let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Canadians want responsible gun control. They wanted it in 1989 after a man killed 14 women at École Polytechnique. They wanted it after 6 people were murdered at the Quebec City mosque shooting. And they wanted it after the biggest mass shooting in our history, where a man opened fire and killed 22 people in Nova Scotia. Mr. Speaker, why are the Conservatives against keeping guns off our streets?
Is this idiot serious? I literally have an army of examples. You see all these tabs up here. These are things I just haven't been able to get to. There's so much news. Let's do a couple right now. Truckers have Vikramjit Singh and Navjot Singh and Seed Shah have been arrested with 475 kilograms of the cocoa white bam bam powder. Peel police have charged Nahom Tekelamayat with essaying a minor from Quebec. He allegedly brought the missing girl from Longueuil, Quebec, to a brothel rental unit in Brampton where she was trafficked. Do we want to continue, Gary? The Toronto Police Service have issued a Canada-wide warrant for a man wanted in the homicide of a 43-year-old Pauline Harusha that occurred on September 13th. This guy's wanted for murder. Here we have the mayor. This is going back about a week and a half. The mayor of Barrie has declared a state of emergency due to crime and lawlessness and out of control homeless encampments. I have shared a story about this.
We have all simply run out of time.
This guy talks like Canada is some safe place. It's not.
Mr. Speaker, the minister said that his gun grab won't work, that it will go over budget, and that it would be better to lock up criminals, as Conservatives have been suggesting, but that they're going ahead with the gun grab anyway because the Prime Minister wants to pursue electoral politics. Electoral politics, Mr. Speaker. When a mother is hit with a stray bullet, or a police officer is murdered by a firearm, or a bullet flies into a child's bedroom as part of an extortion case, we don't have time for politics. So why is this minister caught on tape playing politics with guns?
Mr. Speaker, in order to have a real conversation about crime, we need to have a real conversation about guns. Canadians want responsible gun control, Mr. Speaker. They wanted it in 1989 after a man killed 14 women at École Polytechnique. They wanted it.
This guy's unbelievable. Just start quoting these events of the past. How about you quote the events of last week? This week. There's dozens of them.
After 6 people were murdered at the Quebec City mosque shooting, and they wanted it after the biggest mass shooting in our history, where a man opened fire and killed 22 people in Nova Scotia. Mr. Speaker, why are the Conservatives against keeping guns off our streets? And why has this leader of the opposition voted against every single gun control measure that he has been in Parliament for?
The hypocrisy of this loser is unbelievable. These guys are allowing criminals to run rampant, ending people left, right, and center, and then he has the audacity to say that. Especially this guy, the guy who's on the Rolodex of the Tamil Tigers, a recognized terror lord organization. This guy, our public safety minister, helped terror lords come into Canada. The audacity here is unreal. This guy needs to be thrown out of office yesterday.
Why must you go through all this one? There's, look, just say it. Sean, Quebec, you know what's wrong? Quebec, for example, is in a very different place in Ontario, right? We're talking about Canada. It's federal. It's not provincial. I get it. Quebec is in a different place than other parts of Canada, right? And this is something that very much a big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us, right? And that's one of the major things. I think it's.
They're doing this for Quebec. He just admitted it.
I'm sure you've seen these articles where people said, this is one of the things we should not execute, like as a
drop it.
Change from Trudeau's policies. But we've made the decision to go ahead.
That minister did have a real conversation about guns. Unfortunately for him, he was caught on tape. Caught on tape, admitting that the gun grab is a waste of money. Caught on tape, admitting it would go over budget. Caught on tape, admitting it would be better just to lock up the gun criminals who are actually doing the crime. Why is it that Liberals only tell the truth when they don't think anyone is listening?
Mr. Speaker, let me reiterate, it's actually a good thing that this conversation was caught on tape. And in fact, it will counter every single claim that this leader of the opposition is making. Let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Canadians want responsible gun control. We are in a position as a government, we committed to it during the last campaign, Mr. Speaker. Canadians gave us a mandate on April the 28th to ensure that we move forward on this program, and we look forward to its implementation.
Yeah, and you admitted in the recording that you thought it was a bad idea, it was a waste of money, and you're only doing it because Mark Carney told you to. This guy is an idiot. This gaslighting here is unreal.
But you have the power. That's a rollback. But this is the mandate I was given by Carney to complete this. Because you guys look like fools, rolling like stepping back and not revisit this. Sure, that's my objective, right? Just to put an end to this.
Doesn't sound like he supports this program, even though he has to roll it out.
This government blocks criminal justice reforms that would lock up gun criminals. They want to go ahead and take nearly $1 billion away from border security and police officers to go after licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested hunters and sport shooters, a project that the OPP refuses to enforce. Numerous provincial governments have said they will not go ahead with. They've even had to ask Canada Post to go and collect these firearms. The minister himself has now admitted that it won't work. Why won't they drop the politics and save lives?
Mr. Speaker, if the member is concerned about advancing legislation that's actually going to keep Canadians safe, he would work across the aisle with us as we seek to table legislation during this legislative sitting to ensure that violent repeat offenders are kept behind bars, to make sure...
That is just rich, man. When we have Daniel Senegal going around the town grapist, his most recent victim, a 3-year-old, and this guy has the audacity to say that. Would he be saying this if it was his own child that happened to? No. This guy's a loser. Canada's biggest loser right here.
The most serious offenders are actually facing stiffer penalties. But Mr. Speaker, it is hard to accept criticism when it comes to keeping our community safe from gun violence from a member who for more than 2 decades has voted against the very specific measures that are designed to take guns off our streets, and he has voted repeatedly on the measures that will weaken our border to prevent the inflow of guns in the first place.
The Honourable...
These guys were in power for 10 years. They put in the current laws we have, which is why we have the bail not jail system that criminals from around the world have learned about and are now here because they can take advantage of things and they're getting rich off of it. Sending our cars over to Africa, stealing them, putting them in the Port of Montreal, robbing jewelry stores. There's no punishment for any of this stuff. There's a reason they don't do this in a place like North Korea, because then they get whacked. Where Canada is the polar opposite. Crime literally pays because you don't get charged here.
I and we have voted against policies that have given Canada a 130% increase in gun violence. And speaking of getting things through Parliament, he says seek to introduce. This government has been in place for 10 years. They have softened penalties for repeat offenders. That minister took the summer off and still has not introduced any criminal justice reforms to stop guns. We put forward a 3 strikes you're out law that would lock up the repeat violent offenders. Instead, they're spending $700 million of police resources going after licensed law-abiding people. Why?
Here's another one from my timeline. We got an incident in Woolwich, Lexington on Sunday afternoon. 6-year-old girl was attacked by a 19-year-old man walking down the street. She was playing on the driveway with a bunch of other kids. He ran away, hid in the woods. Cops were all over the area, and eventually a neighbor tackled him after he was spotted coming out of the woods. He was arrested, and we've heard that he's now out on bail. He lives on Eagle Crest and also been connected to a bunch of break-and-enters charged with 16 counts. We want to make sure everyone is aware of this individual. Local elementary schools, our community have been notified.
Mr. Speaker, I have news for my friend on the other side of the House of Commons. If he believes that I haven't moved forward with legislative efforts this sitting when it comes to criminal justice reform, I would have invited him to have shown up for work on Friday last week where we did that very thing. Mr. Speaker, he should look forward this fall sitting to seeing 2 additional pieces of criminal legislative reform. One on bail and sentencing that will make sure violent repeat offenders are not walking amongst our streets, and a second that will protect those who are at risk of intimate partner violence or at risk of being victimized by sexual offenses. And when it comes to the summer, I was meeting with law enforcement and provincial counterparts. He was fighting for his job.
This guy is such an arrogant jerk. That last comment too, fighting for his job, this is coming from the guy who quite literally stepped down because the Liberals were getting decimated. And then Mark Carney pulls a rabbit out of his hat, spooks Canadians with Donald Trump. Then this guy kicks out the other guy who was in his riding after he did all the campaigning for him, kicked him out and then took the seat. And then Carney sticks him in as Attorney General. This is the biggest loser in Canada.
No, we cannot suggest that somebody was present or not in the House. I'm assuming he meant it in a very vague way that it had something to do with, I don't know, something else. But I'll just give that warning to the member, l'honorable député de Saint-Jean.
You'll notice here they went to French after this. Sean Fraser always does this. He waits until he knows that Pierre Poilievre or whoever he's debating with doesn't have a rebuttal. Then he'll bring out that arrogant stripe, throw out his big zinger, knowing that no one can come back. He's such a weak loser. Got this one here. The self-described ringleader of a theft organization in Winnipeg is suing one of the last remaining business owners in the Winnipeg area for pow-powing him after he tried to steal a car, leaving him with feelings of worthlessness. The stories you're getting here on the news are just beyond ridiculous.
At a time when even 7-Elevens are shuttering in parts of Winnipeg, fed up with crime, Dino's is one of only a handful of grocery stores operating in the city's core. And now they're being sued by a man police have charged with stealing there. The statement of claim filed in Winnipeg court on August 12th by Michael Prince names Dino's Food Mart owner Rajan Varma and 8 other unidentified men and women who he says kicked, punched, and hit him with a hammer in the parking lot after Prince says he stole a jacket with a key fob from inside and tried to take a vehicle. Prince says the beating left him with constant fear, anxiety, apprehensiveness, depression, and feelings of worthlessness and head trauma and hearing loss. Court records show Prince has a long criminal history, even boasting in a pre-sentence report last summer that he heads a theft ring that's stolen more than $1 million in property in the past decade. But now he claims he can no longer support himself and is seeking unspecified damages from the store owner. Neither Prince nor his lawyer would comment. This case comes on the heels of a Lindsay, Ontario man being charged with assault for attacking a crossbow-wielding home invader in August. While no one at Dino's faces criminal charges, this personal injury expert says he could have a civil case.
Even though a person's not charged with a criminal offense, it doesn't necessarily mean that on a civil standard, they still didn't commit an assault or other sort of tortious activity.
He notes a judge may be hard-pressed to award damages for lost income given Prince's circumstances, but may for the physical injuries Prince alleges he suffered. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has recently made political hay with the issue of property owners standing up to criminals.
And it is wrong for the law, for the police, and for judges to apply a complicated, indecipherable legal doctrine against you when you were only doing what is right.
The store owner and defendant Rajan Varma is in talks with his lawyer to file a statement of defense, and in the meantime isn't speaking to media, but finding support from a frustrated community, other business owners, and his customers.
If this grocery store owner at Dino's has to endure some sort of lawsuit, penalty, fine, as Canadians, we need to back this guy up. You can't have some guy who's a head of this $1 million plus theft ring who goes in there, steals the jacket, steals the key fob, trying to commit grand theft auto out front of this grocery store. He gets the bejeezers pow-powed out of him, and then he sues? That criminal should be in solitary confinement for a year to clear himself up. Stick him in a dark pit and throw away the key. Because if criminals get treated better than Canadians, Canadians will become criminals. It's going to set a very nasty standard here. The Liberals better watch out what they do here, because if criminals get treated better, Canadians will become criminals, and the Liberals can't hide from that. They're creating their own worst nightmare, and they don't even realize it. Yeah, as Table Salt brings up here, he's suing because he can no longer earn a living. Stealing! Am I getting this right? He's in charge of a theft ring of over $1 million, and he can't earn a living. Are you kidding me?